Hey VC, it's me again. I just made a video thanking James Dashner for the prize that he sent me in his contest, but I thought I would make another one. I'm still in process of reviewing all the Kinks albums in order, and I've started doing the Beach Boys albums in order, and I'm going to do another group here pretty soon, review their albums also in order. So just to complicate matters a little further, I thought I'd jump in and do a couple of Paul McCartney album reviews. So these are the two latest of the Archive Series to be released, which these came out late last year, I believe it was. They've been out for a couple of 2 or 3 months, I think. And so we'll be talking about Wings at the Speed of Sound, Venus and Mars also. So yeah, and it's funny because these are the albums that came out one right after the other. The Venus and Mars in '75 and Speed of Sound in '76. And one of these is among my least favorite, might be my least favorite Paul McCartney albums. And the other one is up there in my favorites. It's not my absolute favorite of his albums, but it's up there probably in my top 5 or so. And definitely in my top 10. So obviously we're talking about Solo and Wings here. We're not talking Beatles, but so anyway, let's start backwards with Speed of Sound. And this one, like I said, might be my least favorite of his albums. And I say might because there are a few of the 80s and 90s albums that I'm not that familiar with and don't own. I know a lot of people don't have a lot of love for Press to Play, and some people don't like Flowers in the Dirt that much. And a couple of those albums, I've heard some of the songs off of them, but I never picked them up, and I don't own them. So I'm not really familiar with them enough to judge them against anything. But as of the albums that I know that I'm familiar with, this is my least favorite by far. And well, there's another one that's close to it. That will be Red Rose Speedway, but get into that some other time. Anyway, yeah, I always bought the solo Beatle albums as they came out there. Went back and got the ones I'd missed that came out in the early 70s, but from about 74, 73 up through the early 80s, with the exception of there were 4 or 5 of them that I never did get around to picking up for whatever reason, and this was one of them. Of course, Silly Love Songs and Let 'Em In were huge hits, so they were all over the radio, and I never owned this album until I picked this up here a few weeks back on the Archive Series, and I had heard it through the years, some other people, friends or whoever had it, and so I've heard it, but it's been a long time since I heard it. I was kind of reticent to pick this up, but I figured as long as Venus and Mars was coming out, and I really did want to get that, might as well get both of them since they both came out at the same time. But then I was also sort of looking forward to getting it because I had been forever since I heard it, so I thought, give it another shot, listen to it with fresh ears, see if it improved, if I thought it was any better than when I heard it way back in the 70s. And I probably, like I said, just heard bits and pieces of it, a handful here and there in between the 70s and now. It hadn't improved, I don't think. I just don't much like this album. And so it, March 76 it came out, got to number 2 in the UK, got to number 1 in America for 7 weeks. I think this was his largest selling solo album. Still is, I guess. So, yeah, this was the year of his huge tour, the great Wings Over America album that came out in, I guess, would that come out in 77, 78 after the tour of 76, and 75 he started the tour in England, Australia, and some other places, and then he came over to America in 76 for a very large-scale and successful tour. Fun fact, even though I didn't get to go see the show, the American tour, Wings Over America tour started at the convention center in Fort Worth. That was the first show of the American leg of the tour. So, and I was in 6th grade, I think in '76. So, anyway, yeah, let's just go through the songs, I guess. It's a lousy cover, too. That's supposed to be like a marquee, a movie theater marquee or something, I guess, but it's just a see what they're doing there, because I guess they're anticipating the tour and the signs outside the places they're going to play, advertising the band playing maybe or something, but this is a boring cover. Back cover, I don't know if that's supposed to be a take on all the photos on the Hard Day's Night album or something, or with the blurry pictures maybe, what, Out of Their Heads, the Rolling Stones, not Out of Their Heads, the Stones' Aftermath, with kind of the blurry imaging. Maybe a little bit of both, maybe neither. The back cover's not great, but it's better than the boring front cover. Inside you get just a collage of photos, so that's pretty cool. And you get, one thing about these albums, both of these, the sleeves were hard to get. The inner sleeves, they're not too hard to get out, but they're hard to get back in, and the records were damn near impossible to get out of here. You had to mess around with them little by little and get them out so you didn't rip the sleeves. So I took the albums out of the sleeves and just put them in other paper sleeves and just put the sleeves back in. So here you got that. There's the guys putting the marquee sign up. I'm not going to pull this all the way out because they're hard to get back in. Got the lyrics. It's a double album. Of course, the original was a single, and I'll mess with that later because you got to mess with that to get those sleeves back in. It's really tight fit. It is good heavy cardboard on the album jacket, though, instead of the flimsy stuff you get a lot lately. So that's a good thing, but it's a little tight on there. And also where the gatefold comes together doesn't exactly match up, and the backside sticks out about a 1/10 of an inch or so. So there's the picture of there. This is the bonus disc, and it's upside down on the other side, but there's another. That's what the bonus disc came in. I'm gonna put that there and mess with that later. We got bonus disc is pretty skimpy on this one. It's first off, I'll show you. Here's just the regular album, remastered, good heavy vinyl. Sounds really good. And it's I don't know if it's 200 gram vinyl, 180, I don't know. And the bonus disc is seven songs on it. And it's just one side, so even though this is a double album, you only get 3 sides of music. I don't know if this is going to show up or not with the glare. I don't think it will, but it's etched on there. It says Wings Over America, and it's the marquee looking thing which runs into the label there, and it's etched on the vinyl. So that's sort of cool, I guess. But alright, so the songs. First song on side 1 of the regular album is, of course, Let 'Em In, which is a big hit in America. I don't know if that one went to #1 or not. I know Silly Love Songs did. I think Let 'Em In got up to #1 or #2 or something. I don't know. I hate that song. I didn't like it back then. I thought it was just one of his worst. And I know probably a lot of people like it. I know it was a huge hit. It's just, someone's knocking at the door, someone's ringing the bell, someone's knocking at the door, and then 10 minutes later, and I hate that song. So I don't like it. Didn't like it then, don't like it now. The second song, The Note You Never Wrote, is a song sung by Danny Lane. It's kind of just 70s, middle of the road, soft rock type stuff. Kind of sounds like, I don't know, Al Stewart or Chicago, or just sort of that boring mid-70s sort of wimpy rock. And, you know, I don't like it much. Number 3 is another soft rock slab of MOR there. Song called She's My Baby. Um, but I like it. I don't know why. It's not great, but I do have a soft spot for it. Paul sings this one, and we'll get to that. Who sings what on this? Like I said, Danny Lane sang The Note You Never Wrote. Of course, Paul sings Let Him In, unfortunately. She's My Baby. The lyric, the line, keep mopping it up. Yeah, he does that a couple of times. Uh, kind of like the way he sings that. It's uh, it's kind of a soft rock ballad. Nothing I'd go out of my way to track down and listen to, but it's catchy. I like it. It's a pretty good one. Fourth song on the album is Beware My Love. It's kind of really the only rock and roll song on this album, and it's pretty good. It's a lot of people, some people like this album. A lot of people don't like this album, but the ones that don't like this album, Beware My Love, is pretty much the one they point to as well. That's the good song on it. I think it's a good rock and roll song. It's a solid rock and roll song. It's not nothing to write home about, but it's a good song, and I do like that. So, you know, Wino Junko is a Jimmy McCullough or Jimmy McCulloch. I don't know how you say his name. Song that he sings. He wrote it also. The Note You Never Wrote. I believe Danny Lane might have written that. I'm not sure. He has 2 songs on here, this album, and he wrote one of them. I think that's the one. But anyway, Wino Junko McCulloch wrote that and sings it. Again, it's okay. It's a little more. It's kind of a rock and roll song. So I guess besides Beware My Love, you got that one. It's not a very good rock and roll song, but McCulloch, of course, had a song on Venus and Mars, Medicine Jar, and here he's singing Wino Junko, and he would unfortunately get too involved in the drug stuff and die because of that a few years later. It's an okay song. Side 2, fortunately, side 1 is over, and side 1 we've got what? She's My Baby. I kind of like. Beware My Love is okay. So we're not doing so well so far. Let's see if side 2 gets any better. I'll give you a hint, it really doesn't. Actually, it does a little bit. Silly Love Songs. Number 1 song, one of his biggest hits. I guess it's better than Let 'Em In. Still don't like it. I never did. It does have a good vocal. It does have a great bass. And it chugs along with a great melody. And that bass is pretty incredible. I will give it that. It's kind of a disco soul sounding song. Catchy as can be. The whole thing was people saying McCartney was getting soft and just writing silly fluff love songs, so he turned around and wrote a silly fluff love song, and it went to number 1 and sold millions of copies. I just don't like it. Like I said, I'll give you the bass. That's great. Read somewhere that it's supposed to be kind of based on Sha La La, song by Al Green. I don't hear that. Sha La La is a great song. Al Green, one of the great singers, so was McCartney. But to me, Silly Love Songs is kind of like he's trying to do a Stevie Wonder song, I always kind of felt. But not a good Stevie Wonder song, more like one of those I just called to say I love you Stevie Wonder type songs, or You Are the Sunshine of My Life Stevie Wonder, not the good Stevie Wonder. So Silly Love Songs, I know a lot of people love it, but not me. Next we get Linda's debut as a vocalist, and the day we've all been waiting for, Cook of the House. I don't know whether it's one of those songs that's so bad that it's good, or just so bad that it's bad. I'm thinking that it's the bad that is bad. Linda's great, she seems like she was quite a person, a great wife and mother, and neat person and all, but vocally, not so much. So Time to Hide. This is one Danny Lane wrote and sings. So The Note You Never Wrote, McCartney wrote the song, and Time to Hide, Danny Lane wrote, and he sings it. It's boring and inconsequential, and enough said on that. Next song on side 2, Must Do Something About It. Joe English sings this. McCartney wrote it. Joe English was the drummer, and this is the one song that he sings on the album, and it's the only song I think that he ever took lead vocal on when he was with Wings. McCartney wrote the song, and the story that I've heard is that McCartney sang it, and one day in the studio he noticed Joe English was in between playing and takes and stuff. Joe English was walking around singing the song while he was setting up his drum kit or whatever he's doing, and so Paul thought, oh, that's kind of neat. Well, why don't I just let him sing it? So he does, and he does. English does a pretty good job on it. He's not a bad vocalist, not great, but he's pretty good. And it's a laid back song. I do like it. It is kind of Billy Joel sounding in a way. It's something that I could see Billy Joel type of song. I could see him having written, sang. So it's a soft rock kind of ballad thing again, but it's catchy and it bounces along, and I like it. And English does a good job on it there. Then so side 2 is looking better than side 1 a little bit. Well, so at least we got that. Now we've got another good song, Sand Fairy Ann, which is another Paul song, which is just kind of I don't know. It's got the horns in it are pretty good. I like it's another bouncy, catchy, kind of laid back song, but it's a nice one. So there's 2 good ones. And the album ends with Warm and Beautiful, which is a love song that Paul, one of the many love songs Paul wrote to Linda. It's the lyrics are nice and heartfelt. The song is okay, and it's just okay. So not a great ending to the album, but you got 2 good songs on side 2, and I guess you got 1.5 or 2 good songs on side 1, and that's it. So the one mistake I think he made on this album, and he did have Danny Lane singing some songs on Venus and Mars and Henry McCulloch, and he had Danny Lane singing some songs on London Town and on Back to the Egg. All 3 of those albums are much better than this, in my opinion. But I think the mistake he made was in trying to push that impression that Wings was a group and Wings wasn't just Paul McCartney. Well, Wings was just Paul. I mean, I'm not going to take away from the guys that played in the band. They did a good job and all that, but nobody went to see a Wings concert to see Joe English or Henry McCulloch or Danny Sewell or Lawrence Juber. Anybody bought a ticket to see Wings was buying a ticket to see one person. And so I think Paul should have stuck with the singing and the songwriting and let these other guys go off and do solo albums if they wanted to have a solo outlet. And by filling up this album, I think this is the one that's the most top heavy with other people singing besides Paul. And these songs are lousy anyway. I mean, if Paul would have, most of these songs on here are not very good. Even if Paul would have sang everything, I don't think this album would have been any better, really. But I think it was kind of a mistake to try to play that angle that Wings is actually a group like the Beatles. I mean, it wasn't. In the Beatles, you wanted to hear Paul songs, you wanted to hear John songs, you wanted to hear George, you wanted to hear your Ringo song. In Wings, all you want to hear is Paul McCartney, or it's all I want to hear anyway. So, yeah, the album, the proper regular release album on a scale of 1 to 10, I think maybe a 3 is really about as, I give it a 4 and be generous, but it's just not very good. And if I were to make a mixtape, I guess, I don't know if anybody does that anymore. I don't really do that anymore either, but of Paul McCartney songs for, make CDs for the car or something, there might be, I guess, maybe 3 or 4 songs off this album that I would pull. And really, even those are hardly essential. And so, glad to finally have a copy of this for the collection. I don't know how much I'll play it. I may play it some more just to give it a few more tries to see if any of it grows on me, but not crazy about it. The bonus disc, you got Silly Love Songs demo with piano, Paul playing piano, and he and Linda singing. It's still not a very good song, but it kind of nice in a way. It's better in some respects than the released version, even though it doesn't have the cool bass line in it because it's just a piano. But it's kind of a stripped down version of it, and it's not something that I'll play a lot, but it's kind of interesting to hear. She's My Baby demo kind of is a big deal on this album just because John Bonham plays drums. I don't know how he came to, I guess he was just passing through one day and Paul said, hey, play drums with me and while I'm singing. So it's a little bit heavier version. You know, you got the patented Bonzo thunderous drum sound on it, so that's kind of cool. Makes it a little interesting. There is that's Beware My Love. I'm sorry. The She's My Baby demo is the one with Paul singing instead of Joe English, which was probably the original version, which is good. You know, I like that song pretty well. So Paul does a good job. I think it actually works better with English singing because the song is kind of a heartbreak and a sadness to it, and I think maybe English's voice brings that across a little more than Paul's does. So they did the right thing in using the English version on the regular album. Must Do Something About It is Paul. That's the Joe English thing. I'm sorry I did that wrong. She's My Baby is just the demo, and it's okay. So, yeah, I don't know. Enough of that. This, on the other hand, from 1975, it's like I said, one of my favorite McCartney albums and the solo albums. Of course, there's the inner sleeve. There's the back. Got the heavy cardboard again. You got all the, and it's really hard to get this stuff in and out, but you got the poster, the stickers that came with the original, and I remember having these when I had a copy of this back in the 70s. Of course, it was a single album too. It's a double album because you get the bonus disc. I always kind of liked the cover of that. Thought it was cool. The back's just lyrics and stuff, so it's no great shakes. I think the picture there is somewhere in the desert out in Arizona or something. It's supposed to look like they're on Venus or Mars. Kind of even like this better. Well, I mean, I prefer this album to Band on the Run, the one that came out before it. Not that Band on the Run doesn't have good stuff, but I've always kind of, if I did my top 10 McCartney albums, Band on the Run wouldn't be in there, even though I like it. Yeah, so you got the records. I put them in the sleeves. Got the regular sleeves there. And so, yeah, this album came out in May 75. Got to #1 in the US and the UK. First 2 songs, Venus and Mars and Rock Show, kind of run into each other. There's a great album opener. You got kind of a folk song. These people sitting there ready to go in the concert, and then the concert starts and it turns into this rock. You got the Rock Show song blend together just perfectly. It's a great little song. Love that. I don't know, is it descending bass line? Maybe it's the ascending bass line, but that do 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 do. I love that. Love the piano bit at the end of Rock Show. Just a great song, good rock and roll song. Talks about Jimmy Page and stuff. Venus and Mars is good. The third song, Love In Song, is that really melancholy, kind of mournful, sad song. It's Paul plays a stand-up bass on this song, the same one that Bill Black played on Heartbreak Hotel with Elvis, by the way. Just a good kind of mournful, sad ballad song, and I like the song a lot. And I love Venus and Mars Rock Show. Love Lovin' Song 2. I would always kind of thought, I don't know if the placement on the album right after Rock Show works or not, because you got all this, you got the kind of build up start with Venus and Mars, then you kind of take off with Rock Show, and then you got the momentum going, and you got this rock and roll upbeat song, and then you go to Love In Song, which is some more slow paced or kind of mid paced melancholy ballad song. And I didn't know if, and sometimes when I listen to it, I think that kind of throws the momentum off, because maybe it'd be good if he had another one of the upbeat fast songs right after Rock Show and then got into Love In Song later. But then other times I listen to it and it works to have that juxtaposition there. So I don't know. I guess it works as far as the sequencing. But either way, it's a good song. It's all three of them. Fourth song, You Gave Me the Answer. It's one of those songs where Paul McCartney gets accused of being silly and cheeky and writing kind of granny music. It's a 20s sounding song. I like it. You know, piano. I think it's a good song. So, fifth song, Magneto and Titanium Man, based on Marvel comic book characters. Pretty good song. I like it. It's not my favorite on the album, but it's pretty good. I do like it. And the last song on side one is Letting Go. Might be my favorite of the album here. Kind of reminds me of Let Me Roll It from Band on the Run. Just kind of sounds like an old soul song. And just a great song. Feel Like Letting Go. I think he's singing, I'm not sure what he's singing about, but it's a really good song, and I always like that. Side two opens with Venus and Mars reprise. It's a longer version of the Venus and Mars cut on side one. It's got some weird sound effects and some spaceship, outer space, UFO weird stuff going on in there. Not sure what Paul's on about, but the song's really good. I like it a lot. What does he say? Something about spaceship, something Z89. Z is how they say Z over in England, and that's kind of, I always like that. I don't know, I think it's kind of cool. And Robert Z of the VC, I think that's his last name, Robert Z. So, Spirits of Ancient Egypt is a Danny Lane song that he sings. It's this was better than anything he does on Wings at the Speed of Sound, but it's a pretty good song. Medicine Jar, Jimmy McCullough. Kind of a hard rock song, good song. Not great, but pretty good. Call Me Back Again is another one of my favorites on the album. It's kind of a gospel soul sounding song and just a blues shouter. Paul's sort of singing, shouting, and just a really good song. Love that a lot. Listen to What the Man Said, a big hit off this album, hit number one. Good song, I like it. It's not my favorite on the album though. I do like it, but there's other things I like better. And sixth song is a kind of a medley thing, that two songs that go in and out. He sings part of one, sings part of the other, returns to the other one. It's Treat Her Gently and Lonely Old People. Kind of a sweet ballad song. I really do like that. I don't know whether he's singing about old people or relatives or whatever, but it's a touching song and I really do like it. And the album ends with Crossroads, which is not a Paul McCartney song. It's a theme song to an old TV show in England called Crossroads. I think it's some kind of drama or soap opera. I don't know what it is. I've never seen it. It's an instrumental thing, and it's pretty good. It's a nice way to end the album. So there, on a scale of 1 to 10, Venus and Mars, I'm going to give it a 9. And yeah, so then we get a bonus disc, and the bonus disc has, I think, like 15 songs on it, a lot of stuff. And it's a really good bonus disc, because a lot of times with bonus discs, with CDs or albums, you know, the stuff you listen to it once or twice, it's interesting to hear, and then you just never listen to it again, is the case I found a lot of times. But every once in a while you get a bonus disc that actually has some fun stuff on it, and this one I like a lot, and I will play again quite a bit. So real quick, you got Junior's Farm and Sally G, the 45s. These weren't on the album. They came out the year before. Really good stuff. Walking in the Park with Eloise is a song written by Jim McCartney, Paul's dad. Sounds like a 20s song, kind of ragtime jazz. Fun stuff. I like it. Bridge on the River Suite is instrumental thing, kind of a West Coast jazz sounding thing. Sounds like film soundtrack music to me. It's kind of cool. My Carnival has a upbeat, catchy Mardi Gras feel to it, which of course this album was a bunch of it was recorded in New Orleans, so it's apropos. Going to New Orleans is piano, another kind of a Cajun New Orleans sounding song. Sounds like Alan Toussaint sort of thing. Hey Diddle is a silly song but a fun song. I like it. It's the drums. I don't know whether they're pounding on a cardboard box there. It's kind of what it sounds like, but it's kind of funny. Fiddle in it. Side 2, you got Let's Love, another mournful ballad, a good thing. You got Soily, really good rock song, which of course is on Wings Over America, the live version. It's the last song, but this is the studio version finally released. And Babyface, the old song, silly song, but Paul gets into it, energetic, so it works somewhat. Lunchbox Odd Socks is next. It's an instrumental, kind of a weird thing. I think it was on a B-side of what Coming Up, or one of the 45s from McCartney 2 a few years later. And I always thought it was from that time period because it sounds kind of experimental and weird like McCartney 2 stuff, but apparently it was something he put together earlier, back in 74, 75. 4th of July is a nice sort of ballad sort of song, kind of funny for a guy from England to be singing about the 4th of July, but it's a good song. You've got Rock Show, the old version, which I guess was the original version. Sounds kind of like a demo. Runs for 7 minutes and 9 seconds. It's just a stretched out, kind of different version of Rock Show, the song. And it's really good. I like it a lot. It's compliments. I'm not going to say one's better than the other because they're both great, but this one is good. And then you have Let It Go, just the single version. Great song. So, good album overall. This is the one to buy. Wings at the Speed of Sound is... unless you're just really into the Beatles and the completist, I would not waste my time